Hi everyone, welcome to Eco Learning Classes. This is Professor Geeta Mahesh.
Adam Smith is known as the father of economics. He was a Scottish economist. He wrote two classical works. His two classical works are The Theory of Moral Sentiment and An Enquiry into the Nature and Causes of Wealth of Nations, which is popularly known as Wealth of Nations, published in the year 1776. Adam Smith was born in the year 1723. According to Adam Smith, economics is a science of wealth. Economics deals with the production, consumption, and distribution of wealth. So, totally, Adam Smith gives utmost importance to the study of wealth. He says that economics revolves around the study of wealth. Economics is a social science concerned with production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. So, economics deals about production, distribution, and consumption. So, these are the main activities we study in economics. See here in the picture, it is clearly mentioned that in economics, we study production, distribution. So, when it is production, it is a process in which we convert the raw materials into finished goods. The one who produces the goods and services is called as the producer. And when it is consumption, it is buying or using of goods and services for the satisfaction of our wants. So the one who consumes the goods is called as the consumer. And when the goods are produced, obviously they have to be distributed. The process in which we distribute the goods and services to the consumer is called as distribution. So, economics is a social science that is mainly concerned about the activities like production, distribution, and consumption. So, these are the main economic activities. So, when it is goods and services, what are these goods? Goods are the tangible products the consumer can see, hear, smell, taste, or touch. And when it is services, the services are the intangible tasks that satisfy the needs of the consumer and business users. So you can, in the picture, can see the example of goods. So these are the some of the examples for goods like mobile phones, TV, car are the examples for goods, and these are the examples for services. So which are the examples for services? Like the services of the repairs of the smartwatch, TV repairs, then car service, okay, then the service of the coach. So these are considered as the services. So ultimately goods are the tangibles and services are the intangibles. So you can clearly see it in the picture. Macroeconomics is the study of the whole economy or the entire economy. Macroeconomics is the branch of economics that studies the behavior and performance of the economy as a whole. It gives the very big picture and clear picture of the entire economy, and it studies the economy as a whole. As it studies the economy as a whole, it deals about the general equilibrium. It studies everything in aggregates and averages. So everything in total. So like examples like aggregate demand, AD refers to aggregate demand, aggregate supply, total exports and total imports. It focuses on aggregate changes in the economy such as unemployment, growth rate, GDP, inflation, exports and imports. Totally, macroeconomics gives the bird's eye view of the economy. The sectors of Indian economy. When it is sectors of Indian economy, they are broadly classified into three: primary sector, secondary sector, and tertiary sector. Tertiary sector, also known as the service sector. When it is primary sector, it is direct extraction of resources from the nature. So some of the activities that are included in primary sector are agriculture, dairy, fishing, forestry. When it is secondary sector, it is the manufacturing sector, which converts the raw materials into finished goods. So the activities that are involved in secondary sector are manufacturing and industries. When it is tertiary sector, it is also known as service sector. It provides various services to the people at a price. See here in the slide, primary sector are undertaken directly by using the natural resources. So which are the activities that are involved in primary sector? Mining, fishing, dairy. The workers who are working in primary sector are considered as red collar workers, as they work in outdoors. Due to their outdoor nature of work, the workers who are engaged in primary sector are considered as red collar workers. Farming, fishing, forestry, mining and oil extraction are the main activities that are included in primary sector. Secondary sector includes the industries. Secondary sector is the one which converts the raw materials into finished goods. And this secondary sector mainly obtain their raw materials from the nature. That means secondary sector mainly depends on primary sector for their raw materials. Under secondary sector, it mainly includes many of the factories. Factories like steel, chemical, plastic, car, oil refinery, and so on. Secondary sector is also known as industrial sector. The workers who work in secondary sector are called as blue collar workers. Tertiary sector or service sector. As the name itself is indicating, this sector provides various services. They provide various services for the development of primary and secondary sector. This tertiary sector does not produce any good, but they support and aid for the production, and they are very much essential for the economic growth of the country. The activities that come under tertiary sector are banking, insurance, trade, and communication. The workers who work in tertiary sector are called as white collar jobs. Apart from primary, secondary, and tertiary activities, the activities and sectors can also be divided into quaternary activities and quinary activities. Quaternary sector is the information, research and management sector. Quaternary sector is also known as the knowledge sector. It demands a separate classification. There is a growing demand for the quaternary sector, and it is a information based service. And usually this quaternary sector services are outsourced to foreign countries. They are not tied up to any resources, but they are affected by the environment and necessarily localized by market. So what are the quaternary services? It includes the services of mutual fund managers to tax consultants, software developers and statisticians, personnel working in office buildings, elementary schools and university classrooms, hospitals and doctors' offices, theaters, accounting and brokerage firms. Quinary activities are executive decision making activities, and quinary activities involve policy making. It includes services like creation and rearrangement and interpretation of new and existing ideas, data interpretation and use and evaluation of new technologies. And when it is quinary activities, they may be the subdivision of tertiary sector, representing special and highly paid skills of senior business executives, government officials, research scientists, and financial and legal consultants. Their importance in the structure of advanced economies far outweighs their numbers. The highest level of decision makers and policy makers perform quinary activities. And when it is quinary sector, they are considered as gold collar professions. Organization of economic activities. The economies of the world are broadly classified into three: centrally planned economy, market economy, mixed economy. Let us first deal about centrally planned economy. Centrally planned economy is also known as socialistic economy. Under centrally planned economy, all economic decisions are undertaken by the government. All legal production and distributions are made by the government. The prices are also determined by the central planning authority and based on the market demand and supply. Some of the best examples for centrally planned economy are North Korea, Cuba, Vietnam. When it is centrally planned economy, they mainly work for the socio-economic welfare of the people. They are not profit motive. They mainly work for the welfare of the people in the society. Market economy is also known as free economy or capitalist economy. The best example for market economy is USA. Under market economy, all economic decisions are undertaken by the private sector. Market economy is mainly the profit motive and not the service motive. Under market economy, there is least intervention of the government. In market economy, the price mechanism, production, distribution, and pricing of goods are mainly undertaken by the private sector. Apart from centrally planned economy and market economy, we have mixed economy. India is one of the best examples for mixed economy. Nowadays, in reality, all economies are mixed economies. Under mixed economy, the decisions and economic activities are undertaken both by the government as well as the private sector. In mixed economy, we can see there are features of both centrally planned economy and market economy. Some of the central problems of the economy, like what to produce, how to produce, and whom to produce, are decided both by the market forces like demand and supply, and decisions are taken based on the welfare of the society. We can categorize the countries of the world as developed countries and underdeveloped countries. India is a developing country and it has the features of the mixed economy. Some of the important features of Indian economy are low per capita income. Per capita income is nothing but income of an individual. The per capita income of India is very less compared to other developed countries. According to the estimation of CSO, Central Statistical Office, in 2015 and 16, the approximate per capita income of an Indian national is 93,231 rupees, which is very less compared to other developed countries. Agro-based economy. Indian economy is totally an agro-based economy. Nearly about 14.2% of Indian GDP is contributed by agriculture and allied sectors, while 53% of total population of the country still depends on agricultural sector. Majority of the Indians mainly depend on agriculture. One of the most important feature of Indian economy is overpopulation. It is one of the major concerns of Indian economy. The population of India gets increased by 20% in every decade. Around 17.5% of world's population is possessed by India. The next important feature is disparities in income. The most alarming thing in the Indian economy is concentration of wealth and income in the hands of only a few people. According to the latest report, 1% of Indians owing to 53% of wealth of the country. Among this, the top 10% owns the share of 76.30%. The report states that 90% of the countries owns less than a quarter of the country's wealth. The next important feature of Indian economy is downfall in capital formation. Savings leads to investment, investment leads to capital formation. The rate of capital formation is positively correlated with lower level of income. There is a huge downfall in gross domestic capital compared to the previous years. The next feature is poor infrastructural development. According to a recent study, around 25% of Indian families cannot have access to electricity and 97 million people cannot have access to safe drinking water. Sanitation services cannot be accessed by 840 million people. India requires $100 million to get rid of this infrastructural backwardness. The next feature of Indian economy is imperfect market. In India, the markets are imperfect. And because of this imperfect market, the price fluctuation occurs. Why this price fluctuation occurs is because of lack of mobility of labor from one place to another, and it also contracts to the optimum utilization of resources. Optimum utilization of resource refers to better utilization of resources. One of the next most important feature of Indian economy is vicious circle of poverty. What is this vicious circle of poverty? When once the poverty starts, it is likely to continue if there is no external intervention. This vicious circle of poverty is also known as generational poverty. What we understand by this is when at least two generations of a family are below the poverty line, then we consider it as generational poverty or vicious circle of poverty. India is one of the perfect example of vicious circle of poverty. A country is poor because it is poor. The vicious circle of poverty traps these developing countries. The next feature is outdated technology. In India, we see that the technology is very old and outdated, which we no longer require. There is lack of modern machinery and technology in India. Indian production is mainly labor intensive. As there is shortage of capital in our country, it is difficult to adopt most modern machineries and technologies. The next feature is backward society. Indian society is very backward. The reason behind this backward society is caste system, communalism, male dominated society, and other superstitions. They are the major constraints for the growth of Indian economy. To conclude, there are a lot of negative aspects that are there in Indian economy. But even there are some positive things in the Indian economy. There are various schemes adopted by the government and which boost the Indian economy in many ways. India is leading towards a better economic structure with the help of Make in India and Digital India. Very soon, India can become a developed economy.
Dear students, if you like, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.